This is my first time. Of course, the time allocation is 10 minutes. So because it's my first time, I will take 5 minutes more. But in addition to that, the mayor was supposed to speak. So I will take 5 minutes from there. So maximum 5 minutes more. So I will follow Secretary Price by saying buenos dias, bom dia, bonjour. President Nicholas, Secretary Price, Regional Director Carissa, Assistant Secretary General Ambassador Nestor Mendez, Ministers, Heads of Delegation, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by expressing my heartfelt condolences to the people of Mexico as you recover from the recent earthquakes that have robbed you so much. And my condolences to the nations of the Caribbean and the United States who have suffered so much at the hands of Hurricane Irma and Maria. Our hearts are with you. These hurricanes are a tragic reminder that our world's climate is changing with devastating consequences for human health, increasing its intensity from year to year. It's a timely reminder, if we needed one, that we must take action both to mitigate and to adapt to the health effects of climate change. For that reason, I have begun an initiative to support small island developing states who are the least responsible for climate change, but the most at risk. Yesterday, I had a very positive meeting with the representatives from the Caribbean community to discuss this initiative and to listen to their needs and ideas. Just a few weeks ago, I also met with the representatives from the Pacific Islands who were very appreciative of the idea. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to be with you as Director General for the first time. I look forward to learning more over the next few days about the specific needs of this region and how WHO can best respond to those needs. The Americas are home to more than 1 billion people. That's 1 billion reasons for all of us to get out of bed in the morning and do everything we can to protect and promote their health. You have a proud record of accomplishments, large gains in life expectancy, major reductions in infant and child mortality, significant improvements in health coverage for poor and vulnerable populations, the elimination of rubella and measles. And this region is home to the first country in the world, that's Cuba, to eliminate mother-to-child transmission of HIV. These are all cause for celebration, but challenges remain, as you know. Non-communicable diseases are responsible for 3 out of every 4 deaths in this region. Many of your countries are confronting epidemics of obesity that will have consequences long into the future. Mental illness, substance abuse, and suicide are all on the rise. You know only too well that as the populations get older, the number of people needing long-term care and the cost of providing that care will only increase. No country, however wealthy, can simply sit back and wait for those people to turn up in its hospitals. We have to turn off the tap rather than try to mop up a flood. The cheapest and most effective interventions are those that promote health and prevent disease, from tobacco taxation to better food labeling, and even measures as simple as speed bumps. I thank the 6 countries that have signed the protocol to eliminate illicit trade in tobacco products, and the 5 who have ratified it so far: Costa Rica, Ecuador, Nicaragua, Panama, and Uruguay. Colombia has signed but not ratified yet. But 6 countries out of 35 is not many. It's actually very, very small. If we're serious about addressing the harm caused by tobacco, we must all walk the talk. I thank Uruguay in particular for your leadership in addressing the threat of non-communicable diseases. I'm looking forward to joining you in Montevideo next month for the Global Conference on NCDs. Ladies and gentlemen, clarity of mission is always important. So what's ours? I believe it has 3 elements: to keep the world safe, improve health, and serve the vulnerable. Let me repeat that. Keep the world safe, improve health, and serve the vulnerable. But to do that, WHO must change, as what Secretary Price had reminded us. And we must earn your trust. Some of those changes have already begun. Others will take longer to bear fruit, but we must plant their seeds now. What I have discovered is that many of the best ideas for how to transform WHO already exist within the organization. One of the first things I did was to put out a call to staff for crazy creative ideas to stimulate fresh thinking at all levels of the organization. The response was inspiring. Some of the ideas were indeed crazy, but many others were exciting and hold real promise. The beauty of inclusive process and using the potential of the staff. We're now molding those ideas into our next general program of work for 2019 to 2023. The concept note on the new general program of work or strategic plan, midterm, has already been discussed at the Afro, Ciaro, and Euro regional committee meetings. This is going to be the 4th one. I have been very encouraged by the feedback we have received. Now it's your turn. On Wednesday, you will hear more about our ideas for the next 5 years, and we're looking forward to getting your input. But allow me to take a few moments just to give you the outline. First, our guiding light is Sustainable Development Goals. The SDGs are the lens through which we see all our work. SDG are the foundation, but the commitment has already committed to. If something we do helps countries to make progress towards the SDGs, then it must continue with even more vigor. If it doesn't, we must ask why we're doing it. So what are we going to do? We propose 5 strategic priorities. Let me summarize them like this: health security, health services, health systems, health targets, and health leadership. First, health security. When an outbreak becomes an epidemic, the world looks to WHO. We must accelerate our evolution towards being more responsive to emergencies. And we're on the right track. The new WHO Emergencies Program is already producing encouraging results. Second, health services. This is linked closely to the first priority. When disaster strikes, our partners expect us to be shoulder to shoulder with them on the front lines, not just shouting instructions from the sidelines. That's exactly what we're doing in Dominica, where we're supplying medicines and other health supplies to those in need. Third, health systems. As you know, universal health coverage is my top priority for WHO. The road to universal health coverage will be different for different countries. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. But for all countries, it will involve health systems. This will include investments in better health information systems and a health workforce with the right numbers and the right skills in the right places. It means guaranteeing access to essential medicines and finding innovative solutions to ensure the sustainability of health financing. And it means providing services that are people-centered through strong primary care networks. The fourth priority is to drive progress towards the specific SDG health targets. As I have said, the SDGs are the lens for all our work, but we will focus our attention on 4 specific areas: improving the health of women, children and adolescents, ending the epidemics of HIV, tuberculosis, malaria and hepatitis, preventing premature deaths from non-communicable diseases, including mental health, and protecting against the health impacts of climate change and environmental problems. Finally, health leadership. This is one of our key roles. Only WHO has the authority and credibility to convene the numerous players in global health and to build consensus towards achieving shared goals. And that's why Secretary Price reminded us of the World Health Assembly's decision to strengthening WHO. These are the 5 priorities. But in addition to the why and what, let me also talk about the how. I believe WHO needs to make several big shifts. And I will mention some of them because we will discuss this on Wednesday. First, we must become more focused on outcomes and impact. WHO should be result-oriented. It's one thing to write an action plan. It's another to put a plan into action. Too often we focus simply on outputs, processes, without thinking carefully enough about whether we are truly making a difference to public health and making impact and change. This must change. We will bring a much greater focus to measuring the impact of our work, to ensure that we invest in projects and programs that get results. Second, we will set priorities. WHO cannot do everything, nor should we try. With your guidance, we will need to make tough decisions about how to invest our finite resources for the greatest impact. Again, the SDGs will be our guide. If we have too many priorities, then we don't have a priority. So we must have priorities. Third, WHO will become more operational, especially in fragile, vulnerable, and conflict states. At the same time, we will continue to play our normative standard-setting role, and indeed, we will strengthen those functions. Fourth, we must put countries at the center of WHO's work. This seems obvious, but it bears repeating. Results don't happen in Geneva or regional offices. They happen in countries, in the front lines. Our role is to support you, our member states, and to enable you to strengthen your health systems, achieve universal health coverage for your people, and protect against epidemics in your countries. To do that, you must be in the driver's seat. Fifth, WHO will provide political leadership by advocating for health with world leaders. The importance of mobilizing political commitment for health is clear to all of us. Our technical work may be excellent, but it will not bear fruit unless we engage politically to create the demand for it. A balance of technical and political interventions will bring better results. I know, and you know, that political will is the key ingredient for change. It's not the only ingredient, but without it, change is much harder to achieve. For a paradigm shift, we need political intervention. As you know, I was at the General Assembly in New York last week, meeting with many heads of states, ministers, and other health leaders. I was very encouraged by the support I see for health at the highest political level. And I would also like to use this opportunity to thank Secretary Price. During my official visit to the U.S., U.S. opened almost all doors to discuss. Their commitment was incredible. And we met President Trump with Secretary Price, and we have seen the commitment which he had also described. So there is commitment from member states that can help us to bring the changes we're aspiring for. And engaging leaders is a must. So WHO should not be shy about engaging with world leaders. They are willing to engage. Our cause is too important. The stakes are too high. Meaningful change happens when political leaders are engaged. WHO must therefore not be afraid to go beyond the technical to the political in pursuit of its mission. My friends, I'm excited about the work we have ahead of us and the difference we can make to individuals, families, communities, and the entire nations. We're all here because fundamentally we care about the health of the world's people. We're not prepared to accept a world in which people get sick and die just because they are poor. And as what my sister Karina said, the inequity, and Ambassador also said, has to be addressed. And this is by caring to those vulnerable people. But it's within our power to change that world. And I look forward to working with you closely to make our shared vision a reality. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. Obrigado. And merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.